Gas prices continue to climb on a daily basis, but lawmakers can't seem to agree on a solution. Earlier this week, California lawmakers voted down a bill that aimed to suspend the 51-cent per gallon gas tax. But now a group of lawmakers are saying they have a better solution, a gas rebate. NTD's Cynthia Kai brings us more on the new proposal.
A group of Democratic Assembly members announced a new gas rebate proposal on the steps of the state capitol building on Thursday morning.
We are here today to announce a proposal to deliver a $400 gas rebate for California taxpayers. To put that into context, for most vehicles, for most Californians, this $400 rebate is equivalent to a 1-year gas tax holiday.
To give more context, as of Thursday, California's average gas prices sit at $5.78 per gallon. A $400 rebate could fully fill up your tank 4 to 5 times, depending on model and size. Funding for the proposal would pull $9 billion out of the state's budget. What's more is that rebates would also go to taxpayers who don't own or drive a car.
And it'll go far in helping with price increases not only at the pump, but at the grocery store and on our utility bills. Californians are hurting and they need relief.
The Assembly members said this is just the first step in helping California residents.
This is not going to be the only proposal on the table. This is not the only thing that we're going to be able to do with our surplus. The size and scale of the surplus, I think Assemblymember Mullen said it's defying gravity at some point, which I thought was apt. We are going to have a lot of options in front of us.
While Republican lawmakers showed support for the proposal, they added that while this is a start, Republicans will still work to suspend the gas tax and stop upcoming increases. Democrats have resisted calls to scrapping the gas tax. In January, Governor Gavin Newsom called for suspending a planned increase in the gas tax in July. But even then, some key Democrats opposed that effort. Cynthia Kai, NTD News, California.
You've probably seen it. Kids glued to their phones, absorbed by social media, and news about the harms of social media addiction is prevalent. But how do you solve the problem? California lawmakers are offering a novel solution by making companies liable for the addiction. NTD's Miguel Moreno reports.
The parents of children addicted to social media could be given the ability to sue those tech companies, hold them responsible for the addiction. That's what Republican Assemblyman Jordan Cunningham and his Democratic colleague Buffy Wicks have proposed in California. In a public statement, Cunningham said, "We need to hold companies accountable when they knowingly create products that addict children and cause harm." Last year, company documents from Meta, formerly known as Facebook, were leaked and published on the Wall Street Journal. In part, they said 32% of teen girls who felt bad about their bodies felt worse when they used Instagram, which is owned by Meta.
I think that a lot of parents and a lot of people in general are kind of beginning to understand more and more the impact that social media has on individuals and then particularly young people.
Andrew Selepak is a professor of social media at the University of Florida. According to founder of Common Sense Media, Jim Steyer, tech companies use addictive design features and algorithms to keep kids hooked to their services. Could this bill radically change social media as it exists in California?
I don't think the bill is going to have too much of an impact. One, because it's only something that's in California. Two, also because of the fact that what it really is doing is setting punitive damages onto the social media companies. It's not necessarily forcing them to make any changes. It's essentially saying if there is any harm that a court decides has been done to a child, that the companies would then be liable in terms of paying out money.
Selepak says that in his view, a preventative measure would be better, not one that kicks in after the damage is done. We contacted Meta for comment, but we haven't heard back. Instagram has started testing a take-a-break feature on their app. It reminds users who use the feature to take a break from the app after a set amount of time. Miguel Moreno, NTD News.
A Los Angeles group is suing the city of Los Angeles over vaccine mandate. They allege the mandates violate the Constitution.
Roll Call for Freedom is filing a lawsuit against the city of Los Angeles for requiring all Los Angeles city employees to be vaccinated against COVID-19.
We refuse to roll over and beg the city to allow us to continue to work with conditions. Come on! Knowing that if we don't stop these immoral, unjust, and unconstitutional mandates right now, it will never stop pushing us back.
The attorneys, the law offices of Pelez and Yu, alleged that the religious exemption and testing provisions of the COVID-19 vaccine mandate enacted by the city requiring vaccination of city workers against COVID-19 violates the U.S. Constitution. Vaccine exemptions include religious and medical. Those with approved or in-process vaccine exemptions are required to test once weekly. The group cites discrimination between those with and without exemptions and those with and without vaccination. According to the attorney, the purpose of the religious exemption and testing scheme is not to provide exemptions for sincerely held religious beliefs, but to force employees holding such beliefs to abandon them or to forfeit employment with the city. Some unvaccinated workers will soon lose employment, so the goal of the lawsuit is to help exempted employees keep their jobs and allow them to opt out. NTD reached out to the Los Angeles City Mayor for a comment. Earlier this month, another group also filed a similar lawsuit against Santa Clara County for depriving them of their jobs during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Now, here's a question. When you hear drinkable sunscreen, how do you think the product works? Well, you probably won't find out by buying it in California anymore, because a settlement came out against a company marketing that kind of product. Here's the case and how the sunscreens was supposed to work.
California's Attorney General announced a judgment against Drinkable Sunscreen as one Southern California company labeled the product. After an investigation, AG Rob Bonda said the company engaged in deceptive advertising and other legal violations. Irvine-based UVO claimed its product, when ingested, would protect the users from the sun's harmful rays. The potential settlement is against a product called UVO Sun Protectant. The company marketed it as a mixture of vitamins and dietary supplements. In advertising materials, UVO claimed the drink would protect users from the sun's rays once ingested. UVO said their product is the first drinkable supplement to provide sun protection. And if you drink UVO, you will have baseline protection that will help minimize the likelihood of burning even if you don't use sunscreen. Bonda's office said in a statement, there is no evidence that alternative sunscreen products like UVO's so-called drinkable sunscreen provide protection. You've got to wear your sunscreen, not drink it. He cited that skin cancer is the most common form of the disease in the United States, which comes from sun exposure. UVO was fined and must provide written notices of sales of any similar products in the future.
Sometimes it's hard to be too good at what you do. That's starting to become the case for fast food chain Chick-fil-A. Some cities are starting to point fingers at restaurants for creating long lines of drive-thru customers, spilling into public roads.
Santa Barbara's sole Chick-fil-A restaurant is finding itself to be a victim of its own success. The Santa Barbara location opened in 2013 and has since drawn a steady flow of patrons. The drive-thru lines are now so long that they spill into the public roadway. City officials said in a recent report that the restaurant's long lines blocked traffic and called the restaurant a public nuisance. According to the city traffic report, Chick-fil-A's drive-thru lane heightens the odds of traffic collisions. At peak volume, the drive-thru blocks one lane of traffic for as much as an hour and a half on weekdays, and for as much as 2.5 hours on Saturdays. Councilmember Kristen Sneddon told the Santa Barbara News Press that she believes the restaurant has a good problem, but may have outgrown the location. That success is reflected in the long drive-thru lanes at Chick-fil-A locations around the country. In a 2019 study, Quick Service Restaurant Trade Pub QSR listed Chick-fil-A as having the busiest drive-thru windows of any national chain. At the City Council session, City Council members unanimously approved moving forward a potential public nuisance designation. But Chick-fil-A representatives asked the council to delay the motion and give it additional time to work on fixing the problem. The council agreed to continue a public hearing until June 7th. Meanwhile, in Norwalk, Connecticut, Chick-fil-A is proposing to get rid of an existing drive-thru and rebuild it on the other side of the building to ease traffic backups.
The last time crowds filled local establishments for St. Patrick's Day was in 2019. This year, people are dressed and prepared for the occasion. Let's join NTD's Adelina Sotane as she went looking for the luck of the Irish at the old Sacramento waterfront.
Leprechaun hunts. Green, gold, lots of corned beef and cabbage. Today is St. Patrick's Day, and we are in Sacramento, California.
The fair brought all forms of green entertainment for friends, family, and children alike. Children are welcome to a leprechaun scavenger hunt.
Doing a leprechaun scavenger hunt today.
Yes! Did you find your first word?
We did. It was May.
May? Where did you find
No
it?
spoilers. We found it in a tree.
Some people traveled for the celebration and are very fond of the traditions.
Happy St. Patrick's Day! Yeah. Did you get any kisses so far?
I'm not counting on it, put it that way.
What are you not counting on?
I'm not counting on having kisses. If it happens, I'll be happy.
Restaurants welcome guests back. And what would St. Patrick's Day be without a cup of Guinness?
Kiss me, I'm Irish, and where's the gold? This is what this holiday is about. Adelina Soltane, NTD News, California.